Hey guys, how you doing? Ron Raymond here from the Raymond Report with your CFL football week number 7 preview and prediction on Saturday night's game between the Toronto Argonauts and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Hope you're having yourself a good start to your day. As always, don't forget, subscribe to our channel by tapping that notification bell in the top right hand corner or hit the subscribe button below this video if you are using a mobile device. Today's podcast is brought to you by the Raymond Report, which is based on value, percentage play, performance cycles, player availability / injuries, and we use a proper money management system, which you can see right here at atsstats.com. All right, we got a week 2, or the rematch between the Toronto Argonauts and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. You saw last week Toronto winning that game 30-24 at Raymond Field in Acadia University in Wolfville, Nova Scotia, and a game really, unfortunately, that had a lot of penalties, and it could have got stupid at some point, but fortunately it didn't, and the clearer heads prevailed. But there were over 25 penalties in that game, 285 yards, nearly 3 touchdowns. And for Coach Dickinson and Dinwiddie, I'm sure they got to clean. They know they got to clean up that department, right? All right, let's get to the SBI, the Sports Betting Index, and let's take a look at week number 6. You can see that the favorites went 2-2, and on the season, 73.6% of the favorites have won straight up, 26.4 for the underdogs, and the bookmakers doing a nice job balancing those lines. 51.4% of the underdogs have covered so far this year. They covered 75% of the games in week number 6, so keep an eye out on that. But so far, the bookmakers have done a really good job balancing the number, 48.6 of the favorites. But they do have a little bit of work to do here on the over-under, because 61.1% of the games have gone over the total this season. 75% of the games, 3-1 last weekend. So pay attention to the unders in the next couple weeks in the Raymond Report. All right, or the CFL, using the Raymond Report, right? All right, let's take a look at the power ratings here at the Raymond Report at atsstats.com. We do have Winnipeg in our top team in the power ratings at 6-0. You got Calgary number 2 off a bye week. BC hosting the Hamilton Tigercats this week. Saskatchewan rematching, hopefully a revenge game for the Green Riders. And you got Toronto, Edmonton, Montreal, who's in Ottawa Thursday to play the Red Blacks. And then you got Hamilton off really, maybe you want to consider that a lucky win in Ottawa, 0-5 on the year, and we'll see if Lapo, he's on the hot seat right now in Ottawa, so they got to start winning some football games. Let's take a look at the preview and prediction on the game Saturday night in Saskatchewan at Mosaic Stadium between the Roughriders and the Toronto Argonauts. Now, you can see here the bookmakers making the Green Riders, and people saying, hey, why do you keep calling them the Green Riders? Well, I'm from Ottawa, and back in the day, we used to have a team here called the Ottawa Roughriders, and then you got the Saskatchewan Roughriders, right? And people were always confused. So Ottawa was always known as the Ottawa Roughriders, but sometimes we would call the Saskatchewan Roughriders the Green Riders, right? So now you know the rest of the story, Paul Harvey, blah, blah, blah. All right, so just wanted to get that out there. -6 is the line, 46.5 is the total, and you can see that the value in the Raymond Report, when you look at the rules, rule number 1, you got value if you do like the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Well, -5.5 right there at -6, so you are getting fair market value if you do like the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And if you like the Argos, I had them listed at 19.5. Even though their record on the season is 2-2, believe it or not, 2-2 gets you first place in the CFL East Division. But plus 19.5. The good thing about the CFL is that you can be 0-5 and you still have a shot to win the division. So keep faith, Ottawa Red Black fans. They're only 4 points out of first place, and you can see going into 90.9 percentage play chance of winning for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. CAL stands for chance of winning the game straight up. Chance of covering, though, the 33% for Saskatchewan, and you look at their record on the season, 4-2. That's why the percentage play is a little bit lower. 42% chance of covering for Toronto, and the Kogo sitting right there at 42%. Kogo stands for chance of game going over the total, and the last 2 games for Toronto have gone over. And if you look at Toronto's record in Saskatchewan, the last 10 visits, they are 4-6 straight up and against the point spread, but Saskatchewan 8-2 straight up in the last 10 head-to-head meetings, 7-3 against the number. I do like Saskatchewan this weekend. A little bit of a revenge factor. I just don't know from the money line point of view. If the money line gets closer to 220, 200, I would play them on the money line, but I'm not laying 6. but that's where I would lean so far going into this game. And looking at the over-under record at 45.98, and it's at 46.5. Yeah, I don't like that. It's too close for comfort, but if the line comes down on Saskatchewan, I would lean towards the under if you're going to play this game here this weekend. And let me just take a look at the other factors on numbers, if I can have anything that's worth pointing out. Nothing really earth-shattering, but the Saskatchewan Roughriders at home, coming off a 6-point loss since 1996, 11-4 straight against the point spread. So that's a pretty good record right there. So, before I go, I forgot to give you my Playmaker chart. So what I do in this segment right here is I take a look at the top playmakers, right? I talked about this in the other video. Go back to the Dallas Cowboy days when you had Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin. I call it the triplet factor. And the playmaker factor here, power chart, is always based on, in a game, your best player's got to make plays, right? And if you look at if you look at a football game, sometimes there's always 8 to 10 plays that really were the difference of that game. That's because of playmakers. And you going into this game, you got McLeod Bethel-Thompson up against Cody Fajardo. I was a little surprised to see how many yards he's got passing this year. 1,488 yards. I think it's number 2 in the league when it comes to yards passing, which is pretty good. And let me just, Zach Collaros is number 1. And then you got Cody Fajardo and Dane Evans number 3. But taking a look at his percentage play of completing passes, not that good, 69% compared to 71% for McLeod Bethel-Thompson. The running game, Jamal Morrow just leading the league in rushing at 412 yards, averaging 5.6 yards per rush. Keon Schaefer-Baker, 370 yards. Curly Gittin Jr., averaging 12 yards per game. So I do have a 2-2 ratio edge when it comes to the Playmaker chart. And you can see that Boris Beatty against Brett Lowther hitting 82% of his field goals this year. Only missed 1 convert, so we do have a bit of a edge here going to Saskatchewan. I got to give him the edge here in the running game. It's the passing game. Passing game has been okay, but it just, the jury's still out on the Saskatchewan Roughriders passing game, and we'll just leave it at that. But if you were to play this weekend, I do like Saskatchewan on the money line, and hopefully the Green Riders get you the green cap.